Good afternoon. My name is Josh Kent here with OcuFlip, the emergency eyelid aversion forceps. A little bit of background about myself. I am currently pursuing my master's in bioengineering here at Penn, and over the last term have been developing a venture around a biomedical device that I developed and patented, but have ultimately found that it is not commercially viable. So 6 years ago, I was biking in a thunderstorm when a part of a leaf got in my eye. After 48 hours, my parents took me to urgent care where a clinician did an eye exam and found that I had severe corneal abrasions. He then performed an eyelid aversion, a simple procedure where the clinician used his fingertips and a cotton-tipped applicator or Q-tip to avert the upper eyelid, checking for debris. At this point, he found that part of the leaf was still stuck under my eye. He then tried to keep the eyelid averted and grab an additional Q-tip to remove the leaf. However, he struggled and the eyelid unaverted itself several times before he was able to remove the leaf. This process caused additional corneal abrasions as well as significant discomfort. OcuFlip forceps solved this problem by allowing clinicians to avert the eyelid safely and remove debris easily. OcuFlip's patented design allows for precision movements as well as a secure eyelid aversion. The ergonomic finger holes and precision tip guide allow for clinicians to use both hands when maneuvering the device around the patient's eye and also allow for secure aversions. Additionally, the silicone-coated tips ensure that the device holds onto the eyelashes throughout the entire procedure, preventing unaversions and additional corneal abrasions like what happened to me. Here we can see the device in action as the tip guide and finger holes are used to move the device around the eyelashes, clamp down, and then rotate upward, averting the upper eyelid. At this point, either hand can be removed to grab a Q-tip and remove the lodged debris under the eye. You then unavert the eyelid and remove the device. Patients go to one of three places when they have debris lodged in their eyes. Urgent cares, like where I went, emergency rooms, and ophthalmology practices. Interviewing 15 nurse practitioners and physician's assistants from the HUP-ER, I learned more about this procedure. Firstly, eyelid aversions are actually performed for all eye trauma exams. However, clinicians rarely find lodged debris in the eye, maybe only 3 times a year. Additionally, they explain that the Q-tip method works very well up until the point that they find debris in the eye. This ultimately means that there are 60 procedures per clinic annually where OcuFlip would be applicable. With this information, as well as knowing about the 22,000 total clinics in the US and a price tag of $10 per forcep based on other disposable medical devices, we calculated a $13 million total addressable market. We would first address the 65 teaching hospitals that have trauma centers as well as low acuity areas in their ERs, as this is where we would expect to see the most cases. Comparing the Q-tip method to the OcuFlip forceps highlights even more concerns, as the Q-tip method is cheaper and also does not require clinicians to learn an entirely new procedure. Additionally, the Q-tip method works well for simple aversions where there's no debris inside the eyelid, meaning that the OcuFlip forceps only deliver value for specific procedures where there's debris inside the eye, which we know does not happen that often. OcuFlip's regulatory and reimbursement pathways are known and achievable. Because forceps are considered a Class 1 medical device, we would assume we only require a 510(k) submission to achieve FDA approval. Additionally, for the reimbursement pathway, forceps are considered a hospital expense and therefore are not reimbursable. So this means our FDA estimate would be a cost of $25,000 and take 6 to 12 months. Despite OcuFlip's simple regulatory and reimbursement pathway, it still requires direct sales, meaning sales reps would need to go to clinics such as the HUP-ER and convince end users like NPs and PAs of the benefits of OcuFlip forceps. We would then have these end users champion OcuFlip to physicians with purchasing power, in this case, the emergency department chair, to make the sale. At this point, we would then need to provide additional training to clinicians on how to use the device and where it's located to ultimately receive feedback about our device. All of this means that we have long sales cycles of 4 to 6 months total. With this information in mind, I developed a first-year P&L selling 60 forceps to 2 separate ERs and generating $1,200 of net revenue. However, when considering sales and marketing costs, tooling, R&D, and FDA costs, we'd still be losing over $300,000 in the first year, and we wouldn't expect this to improve as there are long sales cycles and the low incidence rates, which is why I ultimately decided to stop pursuing this venture. During this process, I learned a lot about what I would do moving forward. Firstly, I would need to solve a problem that happens frequently, is cost-effective to solve, and can be solved at scale. I also would need to interact with end users throughout the entire process so I know their needs and develop a product that delivers them value, and not just them, but also the hospitals and the insurance companies as well. And finally, I would develop a commercial model early so that I don't make the same mistake again. Thank you so much for your time. I'm excited to show you the OcuFlip forceps in person and welcome your feedback.